It's 3:19 right now, but like at least my
Oh yeah,
time.
for you, right? Because you're ahead. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let me just put on the intro.
Do I click tap
We
for
love
sound?
Mary. I don't. No, I don't think you have to do that. I think you can
Okay.
just. I think. Okay, we're live.
Oh
Let's
my god!
go.
Hi everyone.
Hi everybody, it's your girl Peony back with another crazy fucking video. So today, so it's another one of our reading streams. However, unlike how I promised last time, we are not reading another Queens of Muni because the everything that happened last stream was too much. It was too much, y'all. The incest was.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Jason,
a
you were
little.
here for that.
That started to get a bit. I mean, I didn't see all of it, but that started to get a little bit dangerously close to Reddit. So we're gonna. Ugh.
Yeah, got
That was
too
getting a little too
dangerously
r
close.
slash anime. Let's back off.
Ah, not the r slash anime.
I'm
This,
always gonna.
ladies and
I'm always.
gentlemen, is
You're gonna notice a lot. Listen, Reddit users, you're gonna notice a lot of comments that seem Redditor motivated. They are.
mhm.
I'm a total Redditorist. I do not like Redditors. You'll learn why I have beef with the site later.
You'll learn. We all have beef with the site over here.
Everyone
But
has beef with
yeah,
every site.
don't we all? Now, introducing my lovely guest for this episode, Jaw Wrights from Instagram. Everybody give him a round of applause.
Yay! Hi guys, it's me. Autistic person she kidnapped to speak.
I kidnapped him. He's locked in my basement right now.
Yeah, locked in the basement, just like all the other Mexicans she ships over. I can say this because for the record, for the record, I am both
We lost
autistic
the
and
one viewer we
Mexican.
had. Thanks, Jason. Now I lost the one viewer I had.
Okay, listen, I am both autistic and Mexican. I can say that. That was a joke. I'm not actually being held in her basement. I need to say that
No,
legally.
he's in another state from me. I wish he was in my basement. Then I'd have somebody to hang out with.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast, man.
I'm closer to you than I was before, though.
Yay!
I'm slowly coming over. I'm slowly
Yeah,
coming there.
it's like you're like that snail that slowly gets closer, and if you touch it, you'll die. Like you're slowly getting state by state. Before you know it, you might like in 5 years you're gonna be in 5 years you're gonna be in Oregon, and that's when I'm screwed.
Nah, my dad's in Oregon, man. I die before I go to Oregon. I'm gonna kill myself before I go to Oregon.
Okay, the sentence "I think I'll kill myself before I go to Oregon" has been repeated by a lot of people for different reasons.
It's my dad. It's my dad, guys. I know the reason. It's my dad. We don't have to say
I
shut
have
up
been
about it
told to
anymore.
avoid Portland for multiple reasons. Anyway,
Literally. So
okay,
yeah. Oh okay, yeah. We have 2 viewers now. Hell
all
yeah.
right, two people.
Hell yeah. Lily, if you're out there, we love you, girl.
We love you. Thank you
um,
for supporting us.
but yeah. Anyway, just back to what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted. Sorry. We have fun here, guys. We have
Yeah,
fun here. So Jason or Jaws and I have been friends for over like 5 years now, I think.
yeah,
And the reason that I specifically wanted to do this episode with him is because I really enjoy his writing. I love a lot of his stories, and I feel like they don't get enough attention as is. We'll get to that later on, but
oh boy, we'll get to that.
specifically, he has this very recent story that he's uploaded called "Risky Business" with bloody cameras, and I have loved it so far. I've loved reading through it. I've loved like everything that he sent into this Instagram group chat that we have together with our friend Lily. And I was like, hey, why don't we do a video together where we talk about like what you've written so far and the characters that you usually write, so that we can give you a platform because he's Filipino Mexican, guys. See, I'm woke. I'm a
Yeah,
woke person.
guys, listen. I'm gonna listen, guys. I want to make it very clear. I am not her token. I am a bag of tone. I have so many minorities. You got to support me on that alone. I mean, I'm basically accepted into every college automatically. like autistic, Mexican, Asian. Like I'm everything, man. I'm a whole blender. You gotta accept me.
He's got everything and everything all of the
Yep.
time. But yeah. Anyways, so I wanted to give more attention to his work. I'll make sure to like put everything in the comments. Please be sure to go check it out because he genuinely deserves it, and I think like earnestly, just please go read his work. It's really, it's so. I personally I think it's a lot more complex and interesting than a lot of horror media that I've seen recently.
Thank you.
um,
Thank you.
and also it has a lot of representation, and it's good representation. It's
Yeah,
not bad.
I tried really hard to represent a variety of experiences. Before we even get started, when it comes to that, I remember I saw this quote. I think it was a YouTube comment section of all places, but they said something along the lines of the more specific the representation, the more it actually speaks to people. This whole thing of broadly representing people is good, but I feel like the more specific you get, the more it speaks to people because maybe not everyone can
Exactly.
relate to it. Not everyone can relate to it, but the people who relate to it will feel it more strongly.
Exactly, because like that's kind of how I feel a lot with my stories. Is that like even like that's something that like kind of upsets me with like this need for like everything to be broad and like all the stuff going on in the industry right now, especially the film industry, like
Oh
cartoon
yeah,
films and stuff. Like everything has to be broad and has to be for a wide audience. It's like, well, no, you can have stories for specific audiences and like you
yeah,
can still they'll still be popular because even if not everybody can relate to those experiences, there will still be things in the movie that people can gain from those.
yeah, exactly. And with this work, you'll see pretty quickly it is not for everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a specific group of people who did not like it. But we'll get to that later. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
hold in my rage for a little.
he's gonna sit there in the corner and hold his rage like a little cup,
Yeah, I'm gonna.
waiting to be
Yeah,
spilled.
yeah. I got a lot of blood pumping through my veins. So let's get started before I explode.
Yeah, let's get started before he bursts. And then California has another earthquake. Whoa!
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So we have our very first chapter, first steps.
Yeah,
I have it pulled up on my phone right now. So
let's
if my
go.
audio quality is bad, play my headphones.
Okay.
Man, I am pumped to tell you who chronically online content addicts my story. Wait, is that too mean of an intro? Will this get me taken down for harassment since I painted too accurate a picture of the people on the site? Sorry, everyone. I'm sure you all smell like an expensive bakery and have touched grass this morning. Anyway, I promise I have something interesting. It involves the dark web you uncreative writers cream yourselves over. I mean, totally real people sneaking about their strangely similar experiences. Okay, fine, I'll stop bullying you through the screen before you click off. This all
Okay.
started when I was 7 years old.
Sorry. I just want to say something quickly before you continue.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote that intro. So I guess backstory time because I've been making allusions to it. I originally wrote this to be uploaded on the website Reddit No Sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things they do on that site is that you can have your characters like break the fourth wall and act like it's a blog and acknowledge the audience and stuff and acknowledge the fact it's an internet post. And so I had that be so with this first person story, I had that happen here. But I decided I would do something fun with it instead of it just being like, hey guys, I'm John Schwan and I'm writing from my mother's basement because I have the money to afford rent and I just choose not to. I don't know. Whatever. I'm currently writing this next to my Little Pony jar, and my fingers are cramped. You know what? I could, Redditor shit. No, but
Redditor shit.
for real though, I was like, I saw that framing device being used, like acknowledging the audience and breaking the fourth wall, and I like that. I've done it a lot of times. I've had meta elements of my work in the past, and so I decided I would do that here. And I would poke a little fun at the online horror community by calling people who do the dark web genre uncreative, which is also me joking about myself because that's what I'm doing. That's the subgenre this is a part of is dark web. And it
Right.
was like I thought at least maybe you guys got a different impression. I thought I was very tongue in cheek, but everybody I spoke to on that website got really mad about it. In fact, they
I
refused
thought
to
it was hilarious.
yeah, I thought so too. Cause I use pretty basic insults in my opinion, like oh, go touch some grass. I'm sure you all don't smell like shit. Basic stuff like that. And then they got really mad
Yeah.
about it. And I don't want to come off as cocky or whatever, but like I mean, they were upset at other stuff. We'll get to that later. But they were like, everyone who had an issue with the story particularly mentioned this. I even got this comment when I uploaded it on another subreddit where this guy was like, starting a story with your main character insulting the audience isn't a good way to bring in readers. It's like, I argue the opposite. I wrote it because I thought it was funny and people would be attracted to this kid, not attracted in a weird way. God forbid that. That's the kind of editor I don't want. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that the story starting off that way would be a good way to interest the readers because automatically it tells you who the main character is and the kind of person she is. That she's very like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna insult you. Like she is a mean teenage girl, and they really had an issue with that. So trigger
Yeah, that's
warning. This teenager is angsty. Anyway, continue.
very angsty. We love her though. We love her
Yeah,
though.
we love her.
But yeah, that's why I didn't understand that when they were complaining about it because like the point is of her character. I think this was a great way to introduce her character because she's kind of a very quote unquote typical teenage girl where like she just opens the post by being a fucking asshole and sometimes that's how we are.
No, literally, like people don't realize teenage girls are mean, dude. Like, yeah, I think
Yeah,
years of
we should be
watching.
fucking mean. I'm
Listen,
saying
I
we as
think
in I'm still a teenager. I'm an adult now.
yeah, but I mean, like, dude, people. Okay, I think years of like movies, like all these high school drama movies, have convinced us that like. I think all these years of high school drama movies have convinced us that like teenage girls are like not mean unless they're rich, and that is not the case.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, absolutely not. Jesus. I'm gonna have to if you excuse me though, I am gonna have to step away for a second.
Mm.
Okay. How do I do that? Okay. Okay, hold
Okay. Oh, he could have muted himself. Okie Yes, Audrey. Yeah, yeah. I know. I was just being goofy. Okay, I'm gonna wait. We're gonna wait for a bit for him to come back. Um, but yeah, if anybody has any questions in the comments for Jason, please be sure to leave them because I'm sure he would love to answer them. I need to find a link to the video so I can send it to everybody. Okay, my bad, y'all. I don't know what the hell happened. For some reason it like kicked me while I was trying to send shit to people. Okay, Jason is still not back. Totally cool. Alright, I'll just gonna take a quick intervention. Weeba. Audrey, why did she just randomly said that? He should be back soon, because I think he's gonna grab some food real quick. But yeah. Welcome back. Yeah, again, my bad. I was trying to send the link to other people. And for some reason it wasn't working. I don't know why I just randomly started clicking that. Okie doke. Send him the link. He should be able to come back whenever he wants to. Okay, I just had to close those other tabs just to be safe. Just gonna play some music real quick while he's gone. Again, quick intermission, y'all. Hooray! Jason's back. Hello.
Hey, sorry I was gone for a second. I had to retrieve food.
It's all right. I knew you were getting food, so I just told everyone quick intermission. I was trying to send the link to other people, but I accidentally got kicked, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna join back, and I'm not gonna be there."
It's okay.
But yeah, everybody's back.
Everybody is
All right,
back.
now we're gonna get back into reading. Yeah,
Yay, reading, my favorite activity.
our favorite activity ever, guys. All right. This all started when I was 7 years old, and my parents were killed in front of me in an anti-Indigenous hate crime. But let's be real, you don't care. I'm just some annoying Cherokee kid with dead parents, so I'll skip to the good parts. I forgot about this part. I shouldn't be laughing at this. I forgot about this part before I started reading.
Excuse the chewing noises, but
It's right.
Yeah, but basically, like I said, this was originally intended for Redditors, so I had to call them out at the start.
Real. Very real.
And also, it's just like a statement overall about how I feel like people do not care about POC trauma. Like, if she was white, then she'd probably be able to spill her backstory, but she's like, I'm brown, you guys don't care.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like, again, that just kind of introduces more to her character because, like, I'm sure even, like, just based on her own experience, Like she's just grown so used to people not listening to her that she's just like, oh yeah, my parents died in a hate crime, but you guys don't fucking care.
Yeah, exactly.
Redditor's derogatory.
Yeah. What'd you say?
As I was reading what Audrey said, I'm just gonna put this up.
Redditor derogatory.
I
I consider the
was
term
gonna stay up
Redditor
for the
to
rest
be
of
a
the video.
derogatory.
This entire video now. It's just Redditor's derogatory.
Redditor's derogatory, yeah.
But yeah, I'll get right to reading that. I spent years in an orphanage, gradually becoming more interested in death and violence. As bad as it is, I went out of my way to expose myself to that content in the hopes of desensitizing myself, which ended up working too well since now I'm obsessed with causing and viewing pain, though I don't find any joy in hurting myself. I got adopted at 12, and after a few months of staying at my new family's home on the reservation, I went with them to a state sweatier than the average Reddit user, California.
Yeah, I had to diss my own state. Two,
Real.
I dissed my state and my website in the same sentence, so that gives you an idea of my comedy. No
Also-
one's off limits, including myself.
Real. Audrey is also from California.
Well, congratulations.
Audrey, how do you feel about this diss?
Dude, it is I mean, it's, you know, as much as I complain about the heat here and how much people complain about the heat here, I have a friend in Arizona, and she sent me a text saying, "Thank God it's only 105 degrees today." And she wasn't joking, and I was like, "Oh my God."
Oh my God. That is, as someone who could be worse, could be Utah.
Oh God. I don't know. I think Arizona is worse than Utah.
Or Arizona. Yeah, she just said Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I have not lived in California, Utah, or Arizona. Weirdly enough, I've been almost all over the U.S., but I've never been there. But I have been in Florida, so I know at least some
Florida's bad.
of
Yeah, Florida's
the heat.
so bad.
Florida's bad.
The thing about Arizona and Cali heat is it's dry because we're deserts. You guys are humid. You guys got water and heat, so it's like.
Oh
sweaty.
yeah, I hate humidity. That's the one thing I don't miss about Florida. I hated the humidity.
That's like what every. I saw this joke about it. It's like what every dad says when it's hot outside. It's not the heat that gets you; it's the humidity. But like, it's true.
I am the average vacation dad. It's not the heat; it's the humidity. But also, I get sunburned really easily. But yeah. Anyways, back to this. Long story short, both of my caretakers, whom I referred to as uncle and auntie because they could never be my parents, died,
Which is sad.
leaving me in the care of their older son, who I call cousin. I'm not stupid enough to give him any real names, so I'll call him Brick, because he's dumb as one.
Yep. Yeah.
Real. Later on in the story, we'll talk about him more, but I hate him.
Yeah, that's the chapter where he's at his worst has not been uploaded yet, but when you get there, and maybe another stream, like chapter 4 is the chapter where you see him. Dude, when we get there, y'all are gonna hate him. You might already hate him based on chapter 1, honestly. He's not great here either.
Yeah. He was in his early 20s when he was tasked with taking care of me, and is the world's worst excuse for a babysitter. I'm almost always alone at the apartment, with him only coming by to drop off supplies and stay for a few hours so the neighbors don't get too worried. Unless I get in trouble at school, then he'd suddenly give a shit. It's useful because he doesn't know about the gory stuff I look at, but some display of interest would be nice. Oh well, 90% of the population sucks, so he's just part of the majority. Now, with that said, you'll be able to understand the perfect storm that led me here. During my time on the deep web, I found a particular website that caught my eye. They had new footage relatively consistently, and they were the easiest for me to access since I didn't go too far into the dark web, especially with all the honeypots lying around. Excuse me. I even
In the
bought a couple of files for myself to study and admire. One thing irritated me though, the cameraman. He was always sobbing, breathing, shaking, or some combination of those. It seriously killed the vibe of the killings. Sometimes I commented on under many videos, often saying I would do a much better job filming. A choice that in hindsight was me asking to end up in one of those recordings. I didn't think any of it at the time. It was mostly the one who commented, but I was sure they wouldn't care. I was embarrassingly wrong.
That's another thing about her.
Sorry.
She is overconfident. Oh my god. This
Yeah,
kid is so
definitely.
cocky. And like, I think that's also why people don't like her. And listen, I'm not going to say that she's an angel. Some people don't like her, and that's
Yeah.
okay. She's kind of meant to be unlikable at some points. But yeah, she's definitely too confident for her own good. But she ends up getting humbled as the series goes on. So
Exactly. This is the thing that also annoyed me when you were saying that they don't like her. Like it's like sometimes characters, even main characters, can be really fucking annoying and just be assholes. And in this case, she's still a teenager. Obviously, she's going to be a bit of an asshole. But like that's why you kind of want to read the story to see if she like becomes better or learns anything. Which,
yeah.
in my opinion, she definitely
What happens
does.
to her? Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, exactly. Have they met a teenager?
Apparently not. Apparently, okay. Now, my working theory, they were grown in a lab, and so they've never interacted with a teenage girl in their lives. They were just
They've never seen
generated
a
in a
teenage girl
tube.
ever.
And, people might say that's like petty to be like, wow, saying your critics were born in a lab, that's immature. You know what else is immature? Banning me from your website because my character's too mean.
Oh
I think
yeah,
that's pretty
we all.
immature.
I genuinely got so mad. I was so
that's
mad. Y'all
actually
should have seen me.
Oh my god, that sounds like a joke, but that's actually true. And I know someone's gonna be like, oh, I know I'm doing a lot of. Someone's gonna say this, someone's gonna say that, because I know people. They're gonna be like, oh, there has to be more nuance to it. I have receipts. I just choose not to show them because I'm nice. But no,
Yeah, exactly.
they did not ban me for this story, but they did refuse to upload it. And I was gonna, who knows, I might still do this if I'm feeling up to it. But I had this plan that I was gonna upload a version of the story, but I made her nice. And then I was gonna upload, and I also made her white and see if they keep it up. I didn't end up doing that because I was like, this is a waste of my time. They clearly don't want me, but it would be funny if I did it. So.
If you did, I think it'd be funny if you did do it, but also it'd be a little bit petty, but also just be kind of funny.
Yeah,
Audrey
I'm above. I don't want to get petty with them because then they're gonna have an actual excuse to dislike me. They already don't like me for just existing. Like the story that actually got me deleted is one that is also up on my Wattpad under the Lethal Lovers anthology collection. It is, I believe, the third story of the lot. Yeah, we will read it eventually. The story is called Why I'm a Cannibal, and in the story, it's about this guy living in New Jersey, because of course it's New Jersey, and he finds the diary of a cannibal underneath his floorboard, and he decides to share the information that he found in it. And they started arguing with me about it because they said, "Oh, the character who finds the journal, he's the posting character. The cannibal's the main character." Even though I said that they argued with me over who my main character was, because technically, yes, the guy who finds the journal is a framing device, but he's still the lead of the story. We just get to basically see flashbacks of the cannibal, and that makes up a good amount of runtime. But like, he's still technically not the main character, which was my way of getting around the whole like, oh, your main character can't be a bad person. Yeah, that's an actual guideline on their website. You can check. Your main character cannot be a bad guy.
Stupid.
It's just really crazy to me because so many great stories have had bad guys as main characters, like The Sopranos, Better Call Saul, kind of The Shining. Like I don't know what you want from me. They want their characters to be victims, and they think that the only way people are gonna feel scared is if their main characters are good people. Which, like, no. Example. This is gonna sound very unrelated, but it actually is. Let me cook, Peony. Okay.
I'm letting you cook. I'm letting you cook.
Okay.
Giving you the platform.
Kanye West. I swear this is going somewhere. Okay.
It's just Kanye West. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Okay,
We're getting
no,
banned.
no. Okay, because Kanye West, I don't like him. I think he's, very, obviously has issues. I don't think that excuses his actions. He's not a good person, in my opinion. He said a lot of stuff about a lot of communities of people, and I disagree with it. I don't think I need to explain why I
Yeah.
don't like Kanye West. I feel like that's self-explanatory.
I think
But
everyone can have a reason why they don't like Kanye West.
yeah,
Me,
exactly.
because I'm Jewish.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, I'm not gonna. He said a bunch of anti-Semitic crap, and then on top of, he's been weird for a long time. Even before that, he's been weird. But anyway, recently there's been this whole thing with him and this dentist who basically got him hooked on laughing gas, and
Oh,
he's like encouraging him to have that drug addiction. Like, he's taking advantage of the fact that he's mental. Like, okay, I have, for legal reasons, this is all alleged. Okay, this isn't like a proven fact, but it is a proven fact that Kanye does use like laughing gas to get high, and people think that this dentist, like I said, alleged allegations, not confirmed. People think that this dentist is like encouraging him to have this addiction. That is what the lawsuit's about. That is the allegation being made. And personally, like I said, just an allegation right now, but based on what I've seen, I believe that. And even though I don't like Kanye West, I don't think he deserves that. That's not good for his
I
health.
agree.
And nobody, regardless of their, no matter how whack job they are, I don't think you should take advantage of somebody's mental illness and their already poor behavior to fund their addiction. I think that's wrong.
I
So
completely
that's an
agree.
example of like, I don't like him. I really dislike him, but that doesn't mean that like my morals are suddenly out the window. You know, I mean, there's limits. Like, there's
Hmm.
some people who are so terrible that like if you hurt kids or something, like, obviously I don't care what happens to you, but like, I think that's an
Agreed.
example, a real life example of like somebody who is a bad person, in my opinion, who is being allegedly placed in a situation that I think is unfair and nobody should have to go through. So the point I'm making with that and that whole analogy and that whole reference is that if people don't like my characters and think they're bad people, that's fine, but it doesn't mean they don't deserve to exist, you know? That's just my take.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
We were actually just talking about this, me, Audrey, and our, like, because in reference to my book House of Villains, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the main character in the first book's mom, who is kind of like she's the main protagonist in the very last book. I won't give too many spoilers, but basically, she went through this very abusive relationship with a person who, like, it's Cerberus. But for those in the audience who don't like really know that, um, Cerberus is a very manipulative person, and Sophie fell in love with him, and he manipulated her love into basically taking over her planet and putting her older sister into a coma so that she could take over the throne. Now,
Yep.
is she a bad person for doing that? Yes, because she still did it, even if Cerberus, manipulated her through gaslighting and telling her like, "Oh, well, you'd be such a better queen than she is," and like shit like that. But she still like did it. She still went through with it. However, that does not mean that she deserved the abuse that she went through and what would happen to her throughout their relationship, ending in her killing him because like the abuse just went too far and she was like, "I'm done." Which I'll get to
Yeah.
that in a later video. But basically, like it's a similar thing of like bad people can exist, but you can still feel bad for them. Except if you hurt kids. If you hurt kids, then I don't think you deserve some sympathy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Or like,
Also,
you commit SA. If you commit SA, screw you. You don't deserve anything.
oh yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree.
With those two exceptions aside, basically, as long as you don't commit SA or hurt kids, I think that there's some things that you still don't deserve.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, that's the idiosyncrasy of it all. Is that sure you can dislike somebody, but you like that doesn't mean that they deserve to be hurt or they deserve to be abused unless
Yeah.
they themselves have like hurt people.
Yeah. Like I was saying with that Kanye West take and what's allegedly happening with that dentist, like, I don't like him, but I also don't think that he deserves to have his mental health decline even more, if that's what is happening.
I
Which
completely
is what it
agree.
looks like,
I completely
according to his
agree.
allegations. Yeah.
I think like until like allegations of him hurting kids or like him murdering somebody, like
Yeah.
I would still feel sympathetic to that.
Yeah.
But even then, I would need like physical proof of that happening because people can just say whatever on the internet.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, that whole dentist thing is an allegation, but it does look like there is evidence against it, which is why it's being made at all.
Right.
I mean, evidence for it happening. You know what I mean? In other words, I
Yeah, I
personally believe
understand.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that's another thing of just like you can dislike a character, but that doesn't mean that you can't sympathize with how they're feeling.
Yeah. Exactly.
Moving on to the rest of the story. Yay!
Yeah,
Um,
that was the
okay, here we go.
tangent of tangents. Be prepared for
It's
more of that.
okay. This is how the live streams go. We just go on tangents. It's okay.
Yeah, and
It's
also like
okay.
I'm sorry if you guys wanted a direct narration. I may put one out, maybe, but this is not a narration. I am sorry. If you want to have the story uninterrupted, the option is available on Wattpad on my account.
Yeah, go read it. Or go just like post a video of you reading it. There you go. It's just
Yay,
my
clown.
voice
Okay,
acting is not great. I might actually do just like a full reading of it, like just like by myself without the
that would
commentary.
be
I might.
amazing. That would be amazing if you
Get
did.
me to 100 more subscribers. Adam,
Yeah,
give
that'd
me
be
100
amazing
more
if you
subscribers
did.
and I'll do it.
Yeah, 100 more
I might do
subscribers.
it.
Yeah, I would be very blessed if you did that. But I would also
Yeah,
probably help you with the voice acting too, like in direction, and
of
also I do some of the
course.
voices for you, so you're not alone.
Yay! Much appreciated. But yeah, get me 100 more subscribers and I'll do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving on. Also, hi, new person in the chat. Also, Sophie, Audrey, Audrey was sympathizing with you and said, "Gonna be honest here. I don't think they would be upset if she were a dude." in,
Oh my
in
god,
reference
yeah,
to the main
yeah.
character.
You know what's weird?
But yeah,
Sorry to continue the
well,
tangent just a little longer. I swear we'll get back
it's
to reading,
okay.
but I was having a conversation. My girlfriend said the exact same thing. And I said something similar to my stepsister, and she's like, I agree with her. Because this is the weird thing. Horror has always been a very female, at least recently, relatively recently, has been a pretty female centric genre. I mean, that's for other reasons, like the whole purity and whatever with the final girl. Like, oh,
Yeah,
she's the good girl, so she gets to live type thing. But like,
yeah,
Shining, Halloween, Alien, like those are cases where I don't think that they're living for purity reasons. I think those women survive because of their character. Um.
yeah,
Anyway, horror has always been had a lot of female main characters and even storylines like centered around femininity. Like I'm thinking of like Ginger Snaps or Teeth, you know.
mm,
But for some reason on online horror, it's very male dominated, which I think is weird. I know
yeah.
weird for me to say as a
It's very
guy,
strange to me.
and I get the irony in me, a man saying that, but like I see a lot less female main characters in online horror, which is weird because there's so many female main characters in other pieces of horror media.
Agreed. And I'm kind of disappointed with the lack of like, because like there obviously have to be more female centric stories online, but it's not very like publicly publicly put out because I haven't seen that many online at least. Because you have
I mean,
characters like in
in
the
general, I think,
creepypasta outline.
yeah, like even back in the day, a lot of the creepypasta characters that were female that were popular because of association with other male characters, with male
Exactly,
characters,
like as
like
love
Clockwork.
interest or as enemies or stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and listen, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of classic creepypastas were not that well written, and I think a lot
Yeah,
of those characters got popular because they were writing on the popularity of other characters, and that sucks. Like, anyway,
yeah,
before we get, that's a whole other discussion. Basically, but I mean that basically sums up what I think. It's weird to me that male that like there's so many male leads and like horror is so male dominated because and, that might be weird because I know a lot of the short stories I have put out have been from a male perspective so far, but I do that for a reason that's unique to all of those narratives. Like, I'm sure you guys couldn't pick it up if you read the story. Why I'm a Cannibal definitely has queer subtext with the fact that it's this guy who is literally eating another guy. I don't got to get into that. You get it. It's giving NBC's Hannibal. Um, if you know, you know. Um, like it's not nothing explicit, but like the subtext is kind of gay with that. And with some of these other stories, they're told from a male perspective, but they're often critical of the male perspective. Letter to My Coat is metaphorically. I mean, I don't specify the gender of either involved really, but a letter to my coat was kind of a metaphor for a man abusing a woman, treating her like an object. In this case, a coat. Um, Story of Amory was the story of a character, Amory, who you'll be seeing later in other stories, her and her whole cast. But it's told from the perspective of a guy she used to date. And so it's the man's perspective on this woman that he knows. But then when you're actually going to see Amory, you're going to realize he got some things right, but he got some things wrong, you know?
Yeah.
In other words, when I do male perspectives, I'm saying something about it in the same way that when I have a female perspective, I'm saying something about that. I used to be in the boat of just creating like characters and identity didn't matter because I hated because growing up, I always saw that identity politics mattered in representation. Like I remember being annoyed as an Asian kid growing up that every time there was an Asian person on TV, they had to be super involved with their culture, and that sounds mean. But like in Monster High, their only Asian character was Fire Long, and she's literally a yellow
Yeah.
dragon woman, a yellow skinned dragon woman. Like okay, or anytime there's Japan, they have to be wearing like a butchered kimono or some shit. Like or like I
Literally.
remember I was upset that in Lala Loopsy, which is one of my favorite doll lines, that the only Asian character they had was Yuki Kimono, and the only Pacific Islander character they had was um based on like
Mango.
hula dancing. Like, and then that's not even getting in before you say, oh wait, what is this? Isn't if you guys know Lala Loops, you might be like, what about Sahara? Isn't she Middle Eastern? I don't know. She's generally genie themed. I think she's supposed to be Southwestern Asian, but she could be North African. I'm not sure. She could be Indian
Yeah,
because they won't
exactly.
specify because she's an amalgamation of stereotypes. And so seeing that
It's the
growing
same
up made
thing
me,
with Feather Tail from Lalaloopsy. She's a
oh God,
generalization of Native American people, and she doesn't have like a specific indigenous tribe to be tied to, because it's a
yeah.
generalization. That's what like the problem with a lot of Lalaloopsy characters is that they're generalizations of
I mean,
people.
all of them are generalizations of people, but usually the stereotypes are of like whatever theme they are. But when their theme is their race, then it becomes a racial stereotype.
Exactly, which is something that like really made me upset when like I was really looking back into Lalaloopsy. Even when I was younger and I didn't have like much awareness of Lalaloopsy, I always thought there was something like weird about Feather when I had initially gotten her when I was like 6,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'd gotten her for my birthday or something, and I was like, there's just something so strange about this character that like made me feel wrong. And then I would like look back and do it in the future, and I was like, oh, okay, she's a racial
Yeah.
stereotype.
Yay. When you look back on your childhood and you realize they did the racism.
Yeah. Or like just Mittens whole like I went on a whole rant with this about my with my friend Audrey about Mittens and the fact that they literally fumbled in the first series and that was the first controversy they had was in the first series because they used a
Dude, that
slur
was, I
for
am honestly,
Mittens.
so I have a project that I've been keeping under wraps. Like I haven't talked about it online at all, but you know about this guy. I've been sending you all the designs. I've been using the
Hmm.
Aggressive Game Efforts guys to like redesign a lot of Lucy characters, and I'm gonna make stories to go along with them. And
Hmm.
two of the characters I introduced later are Romani. Um, one of them is Callie Romani, and she's a flamenco dancer. And her theme is
Yeah.
that she's a flamenco dancer. Her theme isn't that she's Romani. Her theme isn't her
Hmm.
race. Her theme is her profession. And then with the character Grapevine, who I designed to be Romani as well, her theme isn't some shit like fortune teller or Romani. Because I think theming characters off of a stereotype based on their race or their race is stupid and it's wrong and I don't like it. Her theme is still grapes. She wears more traditional clothing, but her theme is still grapes. She's still grapevine. She's not like magic, fortune teller, crystal ball, which by the way, Clarity Gaze, I look at her with suspicion. I ended up making her Chinese because that's where emeralds come from. And with the with the crystal themed Lalaloopsies, I made all of them themed after the country that those crystals are actually mined from because we associate gems with
Yeah.
Europeans when really all of them come from like people of color. So I made the amethyst
Exactly.
Brazilian, I made the sapphire Sri Lankan, and then I made the emerald Chinese, and then the ruby from Burmese. So Myanmar.
And that's what I
Anyway,
ended up, I also did for my redesigns back when I was still doing Peanut Vision.
yeah. Anyway,
Also, my
sorry guys,
friend.
sorry about the rant. Okay, let's try to get this. Let's try to read. We gotta prove we're not illiterate.
For reading. Also, it's always racism at the scene of the crime. And on my creepypasta, try not to fail the Bechdel test challenge.
Stop. Who said
Love
that?
you, Audrey.
Oh my
Love you,
God.
Audrey.
Audrey is getting so many shout outs. How many people are actually here though?
I think it's just Audrey.
You know what? Thank you.
There was somebody in there. It was just
Okay.
there was somebody. There was like 3 people just a minute ago, and now they go. They go. Love you,
Again.
Audrey. Love you. Just me, I think. Yeah. All right, back
Okay.
to reading. I was staying up late like usual, but it was past 1 a.m. on a school night. And back then, that was a lot, so I tried to sleep. Closing my eyes, tossing and turning, the works. I had just started drifting off when I heard the front door open. I remained calm, but immediately found it weird since Brick never showed up this late. And the thuds of the individual's feet grew louder as they grew closer to my bedroom. I tried to convince myself it wasn't a stranger, especially since they got in with ease, but I knew it was wishful thinking. They hummed as they opened my door. My dumb ass had left it unlocked. I remained on my side, trying to look at like I was asleep. They turned on the flashlight of their phone, shining in my face. It was hard, but I stayed still, and while they traced it over my features. I could tell they were smiling as they clicked their tongue. I knew it was a brat. They whispered to themselves, pulling tangles out of my hair, something I struggled not to groan from. They pulled up the hair over my ear and got so close, spit got on my earlobe. I
Yeah.
cannot read properly.
We are illiterate. Sorry, guys.
I am illiterate. I know you're awake, kid, they murmured, putting a blade to my neck. I let them grab my shoulder and move me onto my back. I knew how to fight, but I wasn't about to take up that big a risk with the position they had me in. You think you're so cool, saying that you can do better than our guy. They snickered, kneeling, their flashlight still in my face. Do you seriously believe that? They questioned, moving the light away. Yeah, I do. I stood my ground. They might have been intimidating, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from being honest. I wouldn't sound like. Wait.
Calm down. Calm down.
Reading. I wouldn't sound like I'm going to piss myself every time it gets gory. I'm confident I could get better footage too. Getting up close is something I've fantasized about. They clicked their tongue again and ran their finger over the bridge of my nose. Well, I know you're a big fan of what we do, and your confidence makes me think you've got something to back those claims up. So how'd you like a deal? I was surprised by how civil they were being, aside from the touching and weapon against my throat. What kind of deal? I asked. For all I knew, this guy wanted me to lick their feet or some weird shit like that. They placed a finger under my eye, tracing a half moon with their nail. You have till this Friday to film a video of you killing an animal and putting it on a flash drive that I'll pick up here. If it impresses me and the crew, I'll hire you with a handsome salary. They began, moving their hand down to my cheek. But if you don't show, or it doesn't meet our standards, then I'm fucking up one of the parts of your face. They warned, pinching my skin harshly. And if I say no to this deal, they put their hand over my mouth, scratching my lips. That's cute. If you say no, I'll just slit your throat. They grinned. Okay, since I have no choice, I'll go with it. But I'm telling you now that I can give you something way better than what you'd likely expect of me. I prefaced, looking into their sunken eyes. They scratched my scalp, including the side of my head that was shaved. Good choice. I'll be back to pick it up, and if you're not here, I'll assume you don't have the video. I genuinely wish you luck, because you'll need it. They removed the blade from my neck and walked away. I sat still for a few minutes in the dark, processing what had happened and wondering how they got into my apartment with such ease. I was confident that I could blow their sniveling excuse of a cameraman out of the water, but I was worried about the people I was getting caught up with. Sure, I had seen a lot of gore sites over the years, but I was always just watching and occasionally commenting. Compared to most in the scene, I wasn't much of a threat. I could defend myself and have contemplated killing for years, but I hadn't murdered anyone or worse. Plus, I'm a part of way too many targeted groups to be constantly at risk. Teenage, family-leaning, two-spirit, indigenous kid with trauma. Yeah, I might as well be a walking sign screaming, hate crime me.
Yep.
Any
I mean, she's not
commentary to
wrong.
add to that
All I can add to that is, yeah, she's not wrong.
yet? Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, she is the target. Unfortunately, she is the target of the Daily Wire. Just kidding. Daily Wire doesn't care about you unless you're famous. Anyway.
Yeah, or unless you try to target yourself to the Daily Wire, and then you're like, actually, guys, we can't be friends with everyone who says the N word.
Stop. Oh my god.
Funky frog bait reference.
I cannot wait for me to end up in a diss track by Ben Shapiro and Tom McDonald. That's what I know I'll make it. That's what I know I've made it.
If you end up in a diss track by Ben Shapiro, I will gladly react to that video. I'm gonna pull you in here and be like, we gotta watch this shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I said this. Another story I made called Blood Clot, which is a very direct, let's say, metaphor about the Rohingya genocide and genocide as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
In that story, somebody commented, "It was good until you involved race."
Oh my god!
Like, I'm sorry, you're upset that a story that is about a child of refugee Muslims from Asia and is currently living in a red state involves race in the plot when the monster is also a metaphor for ethnic cleansing.
Literally.
Like, dude, what's your problem? Anyway.
Also, go read Blood Clot. It is also a good story. The main
Thank
character,
you.
I want to
I'm
give
sorry,
a
it's
hug.
currently on hiatus. I am working on it though.
It's okay.
Anyway.
I feel you.
Alright.
So yeah, there was a lot to worry about. Regardless, I couldn't let that fear hold me back. I had a job to do and a group of sickos to appease. The next morning was rough. I had no sleep because I spent all night brainstorming. I barely mustered the energy to change and drink straight mouthwash instead of brushing my teeth, slogging onto the bus
Yummy.
with drool on my cheek.
What an outstanding citizen.
What an upstanding citizen, said the girl who used to eat toothpaste.
I mean,
No,
guys,
seriously, I used to eat My Little Pony toothpaste.
Oh my god. Did you
Too racist, not
break hand sanitizer to be Elsa?
Shut up! Don't call me out like that. I haven't done a story type video on yet. I haven't done a video of my witch phase.
Oh my god, you got to do a video on that. That was crazy. I feel like I was there.
I'm gonna go viral. That's the thing I go viral for. Drinking hand sanitizer when I was like 9. I don't even remember. I was in the fourth. I know I was in the 3rd grade.
Sanitizer.
Listen. No, I agree with you. I was too old. I don't know what I was thinking. Baby me was a little stupid, guys. Baby me was a little stupid.
Gee, I didn't pick up on that. You've changed so much.
Stop bullying.
Fun fact.
Okay,
Fun fact. Due to our backgrounds, they will take your side in court.
No. No. Also, Audrey saying, do racists not know how to read? No, they don't.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Apparently, dude, it's so funny to. I'm like, okay, funny and also a little sad. Like, I don't mean to be like my story's too deep and complex for people to understand. I hate people who do
But
that.
it is.
My dad taught me from an early age to never underestimate your audience. I was making some Lala story, and I was like, yeah, and I'll explain that in case they don't get it. He's like, never assume that your audience isn't smart enough to understand what you're making. And he's
Yeah.
like, never underestimate your audience. That has stuck with me my whole career. And so people are like, oh, like I was reading a story, like somebody who, not to call them out or anything, like it's not a big deal, but they didn't pick up on the subtext that Amory was trans in the story of Amory. And I told it to my uncle, and he's like, "Are they going to understand that she's trans? Should you explain that?" I'm like, "People who get it, get it. People who don't." I'm not
Yeah,
gonna, I'm not
exactly.
gonna, not gonna dumb it down for anybody. I don't do that.
You
And
shouldn't
he,
have to spell it out for people.
me and my uncle and my uncle Brian and my dad have contrasting beliefs because he's like, dude, people are stupid. You got to go in expecting them to be stupid. And my dad's like, no, people are smarter than you give them credit for, and you got to create for that. And I followed towards my dad's philosophy. Thing is, I expect people to have dumb reactions, but I know that smart people, like, I don't want to say smart. I mean, you know, like, I don't want to be like, you have to have a very high IQ
Intellectual.
to under. Yeah. But like people who pick up on the subtext, it's not even a matter of intelligence. I think it's a matter of paying attention or being able
Yeah.
to resonate with the experience. So I don't want to say smart enough to understand, but just pick up on it. Because, you know, there's been some
To
movies
have
that are
an
really pretty obvious.
understanding.
Yeah. But I have not really found that with my work so far. It's a little disappointing because I'm making my English teachers proud. I loaded this shit up with themes and whatever. Like,
Real.
this is meant to be annotated, especially blood clot. Like
Yeah.
everything from the orifices, like the specific parts of, like, I don't think I explained this to somebody when I was talking about the story, but I didn't explain it to my audience. So you'll get some first ever heard creator commentary on this story. Feel free to dig this up when you want to make a video essay, assuming that anyone cares. But I picked the reason why, spoiler, but not really because it's the first chapter. The reason why Aziz, the main character, blood clot, and all the people affected by the monster in that story bleed out of their face is because the story is a metaphor for ethnic cleansing. And one of the things that people will recognize a group of people by are their facial features. You know, that whole thing, eyes are the window to the soul. And
Right.
so bleeding out of your, so when the monster, which represents ethnic cleansing and genocide, makes people bleed out of their face, it is a metaphor for how these people who are killing off these groups of people want them to be faceless, want them to not be remembered, want everything involving their phenotype and people who look like them to be gone. So it's like the most literal version of like cleansing an entire identity off the map is stealing their face away from them. And that's why I picked
Yeah.
that specifically instead of just like you cough up blood or something, because your face is what people use to identify you, and they don't want that phenotype, they don't want those features, even if in reality they look exactly the same as another group of people. It's about what it represents to them, it's about what the face means, and that's why the monster targets it. Anyway,
Exactly.
so that,
Um.
sorry to start bringing up another story. If you guys
No.
are
No.
telling
No.
me
It's okay.
it's on my AO3. I have not uploaded it to Wattpad yet because I am scared. Because
No.
because
Um.
with CD, there's some relationship stuff in this story. Spoiler, kind of. You'll figure it out pretty quickly. In fact, like in the next scene. But there's no relationship stuff in Blood Clot unless you count the stalker he runs into. But that's another story. And I have and that character's based off someone I got personal beef with. So we're gonna move on. I'm not
Woo.
gonna spill the tea on that yet.
Yeah, real. I do want to make like one point. That's one of the
Mhm.
things that like what you mentioned before about how you specifically wrote in Blood Clot about like how you write like their face, like the blood coming out of their faces and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what like so interests me so much about your writing. It's the fact that like you really think into like the source of like what the pain means in the sense of the story. It's so gut wrenching when you really understand like the meaning of that. It's this like hurt that you feel knowing that that's what that embodies and that's what that means. It's all
And
the
the
more
scariest part is
impactful.
it's real. It's real.
Hmm.
Like there's a monster in that story, but that monster is very much alive, unfortunately.
And it's
And
still going on today. It's not something that's been going that happened like a
it has
hundred years ago.
been,
It's something.
yeah, it is a monster that is very much alive and well in different forms, just like how the monster possesses different people.
Hmm.
And there was a particular time. Oh man, we're gonna have to read Blood Clot now with the way I'm talking about this. I can't give away everything. Got to save that for when I talk about that story. But
Yeah.
but I will say there was a particular. I remember my friend asked me, "What is the scariest thing you ever wrote?" And at the time, I could not answer that question, and I feel mad because I know the answer now, and I keep forgetting to mention it. But it was a scene in Blood Clot, specifically a piece of dialogue the monster says to Aziz. And the reason why that was the scariest thing I ever wrote is not because it's like jump scare, pissing my pants, shitting myself, I'm scared type scary, but because it was is because as I wrote that, I knew exactly what, as I wrote that piece of dialogue, I knew exactly what it was referring to. And it was in reference to a very specific type of thing that is currently happening in the world. And in my
Hmm.
head when I typed it, I could see that. I could see what was happening in my brain because I knew what it was about. And that is the scariest thing I ever wrote because it is so real. To summarize, I'll paraphrase it here now, but essentially the monster with Aziz is like, why are you doing this? Why are you after people like me? And the monster says, because because I am here to build. He's like, I'm here to tear you down and tear people like you down and build over the rubble that's left. And
That's
that is a reference
that
to,
scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is a reference to a terrible housing development plan. It's not gentrification, it's worse. It is, I mean, gentrification is bad too, but it's more insidious. That's a discussion, but it was in reference to, not going to say the countries you probably already know, and how
Hmm.
they they destroyed villages, they destroyed like towns, and they were already planning to build vacation homes over where those houses are no longer at. Literally building vacation homes over the rubble of where people used to live, where somebody's family was raised.
Hmm.
And when I saw that, I was like, I need to fucking talk about this. And then I do that. People notice, if you follow my social medias, you notice I repost a lot of things about like current world events, not just with the big conflict that's being talked about on the news, but like other countries too. And it's because
Hmm.
I don't post often. You'll probably notice it. I gotta get better at it, but I speak through my work because I'm tired of people just saying it's. I mean, it's great to say that you stand for something, but as an artist, I want my work to speak for my beliefs. And if people don't agree with it, that's fine. But yeah, that is the scariest thing I've ever wrote because it was the realest thing I've ever wrote. So
Yeah. And I would highly suggest to everyone to go read Blood Clot and go find that scene because when you read it, when I read it for the first time, when Jason first sent it to me, when it was still in the drafts, it haunted me. It was genuinely one of the most haunting things I've ever read because I could understand what he was saying in that moment and it shook me to my core. And it was one of the most haunting, really terrifying scenes I've ever read. And I think it's so impressive of someone to be able to write with that caliber and really make you feel it, you know?
yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that because yeah, scariest thing I've ever wrote, and it doesn't even involve a jump scare. Sorry, redditors. No, sorry, there's no ghost coming out of people's toilets and possessing them through their assholes or whatever. Um, sorry, sorry, I'm getting. I feel bad. I low key feel bad for the readers on there, and I kind of get why they don't. Why that story didn't really pick up on there. Blood Clot was the one story that website accepted, and it did not get popular. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I think what it
I'm
is
still mad
one.
it didn't get popular.
One is it's really, I think people don't like, I don't mean to be like, I don't want to sound like Kanye West type, I'm a genius, nobody gets me type thing, but like I feel like people didn't like that it was very real and very raw, and that was not appealing to them. I feel like a lot of the people. I mean, I remember I was talking about it with somebody, and he was really unfamiliar with Reddit, and I was explaining how you basically have to give a plot summary in the title, and then he's like, people's attention spans are that low, and I'm like, oh my god, you're right. That sucks. Then you need to do a freaking pitch in the title of your story for anyone to care. So,
Literally.
and then I remember oh man, I'm really just calling everyone out. But like I said, not gonna name names. For the record, this guy is very nice. I liked him. I've had contact with him. Very nice guy. I like him. I like his work. I respect him. I contacted him for a reason. But when I told him about how Blood Clot was being received, and I was like, I want to try to get more attention on it. What do you suggest? And the first thing he's like, oh well, he's been there for a while. He's been there for like 5 years, and he's just like, oh well, you know, change the title to be something more like eye catching instead of Blood Clot. Like give away, like describe the plot in the title. And I was like, okay. Any other suggestions? And then he started, and I was like, other suggestions. I said suggestions to get the story popular, and then he started to give me unsolicited writing advice. Because, like, I say unsolicited because I said, hey, what are some ways that I can promote the story, get it popular? And then he just started saying, oh, you should change stuff about it. And I'm like, I didn't tell you to. I didn't ask for him to like give his opinion and say, oh, I think you should change this element of the plot. I was saying, how do you think I could make it like succeed more on the platform? But I guess he could have construed it because it's a little murky. So I was like, okay. But then he started giving me contradictory advice. And like one of the things that really annoyed me is that, not the scene I referred to earlier, but there's a scene earlier than that. The first time Aziz is like, why are you after people like me and the demon answers? And he said, get rid of that scene. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why would I get rid of that scene? And then he's like, because, and he's like, the demon shouldn't be, what does the demon owe Aziz? Why is the demon explaining things to Aziz? He shouldn't owe him an explanation. And I'm like, and I think that showed a misunderstanding. And at that point, I kind of stopped, like, I realized he didn't get the story. Even though I explained to him what it was about, I don't think he really understood it or really read it, because that scene needed to be there. The reason the demon answers, that's like the point of the story, is that this monster is addressing the people he's hurting. I was like, this monster is taunting him by answering that question.
Mm-hmm.
The monster is acknowledging that he's hurting these people, and people, Aziz in particular, but people like him. He's answering to make it hurt more, and he didn't seem to get that. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this guy does not get the story. Anyway, nice guy, great guy, not dissing or anything. Like, genuinely, he's a great person, and I really enjoy his stuff. But I think he misinterpreted the message, or didn't really consider. Not that he misinterpreted it; he got the message. I think he just didn't understand the significance of certain things, because he's white. No offense. He's white, and I don't think he. And I know that I know he knows other people of color, and he's worked with creators of color and all that. And I think he, like he's like, he has good relationship. He's not like a snotty white guy, but like, I think he failed to understand the meaning and the subtext of that scene and stuff like that. Is why, like, I'm very particular with my work, and everything I do has a meaning to it, even if it's some stupid detail. Like, there's a character later who's drinking a watermelon drink. I'll let you guess why he chose a watermelon. Anyway, back to the story. Sorry, everyone.
It's all right. It's all right. I really appreciate you like going into depth about this, even if it isn't like about this story. I really appreciate how in depth you go about even your other stories, because it really shows how passionate about you are about your work.
Yeah, I could go on for like ever, literally. Like, oh my god.
We'll make another episode about Jason, just for Jason the app.
Yeah, literally.
Also, Audrey just spoken it up in the comments. Woo!
Yeah.
Sorry, how my mom's talking. Yay! We got chicken stir fry for supper.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Supper.
This child.
Mommy,
Mother has retrieved supper. Oh,
it's so funny. Okay, back to Love how like it all started with me yapping about how I once ate My Little Pony toothpaste.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the
I barely
pipeline with me,
mustard
man. That's the pipeline with me. You'll start
me.
talking about My Little Pony toothpaste, and then you'll talk about global conflict. It always leads
Yeah,
back to global
that's
conflict. It
not.
feels like.
This is literally just like every single conversation I have with all of my friends. It's just like My Little Pony toothpaste, and then sad world thing. Back to My Little
No,
Pony
like that's
toothpaste.
no stop because I was having a conversation, and my friend started the conversation being like, I like Michael Afton from FNAF. He's so cute, and then it ended with us like discussing the nature of religion and how it's weaponized. It gets
Oh my
crazy, man.
god, that's literally like so similar to a conversation me and Audrey had about
That is
Michael
terrifying how
Afton.
similar it is. People like me are multiplying. That is not a good thing. Anyway, um,
Confirm this is about Peony stuff. Thank you,
oh my
Audrey, for
god.
the confirmation.
Thank you
Okay,
for
okay.
confirming it's canon.
It's good. It's canon, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Back to reading. Back to reading,
Yeah.
everybody.
Back
I
to
barely
reading and trying to
mustered
hide
the
my
energy.
feelings.
we. I barely mustered the energy to change and drank straight mouthwash instead of brushing my teeth. Slogging onto the bus with drool on my cheek, I went to the back like usual. No one sat there because the seats were extra worn down, and I was scared of anyone who attempted to do with my active rabies-infected bitch face. That day was different, though. I blinked on his name and where I knew him from, but I recognized his wavy hair and prominent curved nose. He glanced at each seat on the bus before somehow settling on my area. He tried to give me space, but ultimately seated himself beside me after realizing it was the only spot that didn't look like it would give him cancer. I glared at him as I did with everyone, but it didn't faze him. You know you could pick anywhere else, right? I murmured. He stared at the floor, then at me. I'm aware, but a few months ago I started a mission to sit on every part of this bus, and this is the last place. He smiled, his lips softly curving at the sides. What's the point of that? His mouth moved into a more neutral position, but his eyes kept smiling. I just thought it'd be neat to see the same place from a bunch of different perspectives. He took out his phone and snapped a photo from the point of view where he was sitting. Maybe my sleepiness made my bitch face less effective, because he hadn't shown a hint of fear, which kind of annoyed me. My bitch face was less effective, because he hadn't shown a hint of fear, which kind of annoyed me.
Yeah.
That's cool, I guess, but I wouldn't do that if I were you. I've done some shit, some. Oh my god, I've done
Yeah,
some shit
yeah.
back
This
here.
is the part I want to comment on this being like, how old is she? And like, listen, teenagers, take this from one, say weird shit.
No,
I want
literally.
to make it
Okay,
clear, I will never put her in a bad situation, but she is fucking weird. And yeah.
literally. I mean, I've literally sat down with like this dude who used to be like my best friend back in like middle school, and he like was like, "Yeah, I fuck bitches and then I leave them," and I was like, "Okay, we're eating lunch. Can we not have this conversation
No,
right now,
literally.
Damien?"
And also, it speaks to her character that like she had unrestricted internet access, so she doesn't really like. She's not trying to be weird in this scene, but she does say something like that sounds hella sus because she has a very terrible filter because she was like a deadly iPad kid growing
That
up.
is so real of her. We love
You'd CD.
I can't say her name.
We love Eugenia.
We love UCD.
Yeah,
UCD.
yeah,
I love her so much. I love her. She can be annoying as shit, but you know what? She's my annoying little shit. Okay, she's my
yeah. And
annoying little
I'm
shit.
always like, she's my little shit. Like I love her. Anyway.
I love how I put my hand in my chest and I slap myself. She's my annoying little shit. It's my
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah.
That's cool, I guess. But I wouldn't do that if I were you. I've done some back here that alone that would make your skin crawl. In hindsight, my attempt at unnerving him just made me sound like a pervert, which is probably why he held back laughter, trying to hide a chuckle by clearing his throat. Hey, it's not my business what you do, no matter how haram it is.
Yeah, you said it right. Let's go.
Yay! It's your life, so that's between you and whatever you believe in. Just don't shake hands with me. He joked, playfully putting his hands up. Strangely, I remembered his name at that moment. Oh shit, you're Abdul. We have art together. I sat up, haphazardly slamming my hand down on my leg.
That's what a great
Yeah.
moment to remember somebody's name right after you say some shit like that.
Yeah.
She is
It's
so
hilarious.
not socially inept, just very bad at it.
We love her. We love her for that. That's literally so me. I once
Yeah.
forgot my best friend's name for like half of a year until she said something completely unrelated, and I was like, "Oh
I
yeah,
am
Teslin." And she just like
I am
looked at me like,
terrible with birthdays. I suck at birthdays. If you couldn't already tell from the
"Good."
4 years you've known me.
It's okay. I totally get that. I remember your birthday because I saved it, and it's the same birthday as my friend Ghost.
Let's go, birthday twins.
Birthday twins. Ghost from Florida. You're get over here. You have a birthday twin who lives in California. I'm gonna send this to him later. He's gonna be like, "What? Why the fuck did you just call me out in the video?" Anyways, yeah, I've seen some of your paintings. They're pretty cool. I like the way you texture them. I'm trying to work on that. He complimented, seeming more weirded out by my sudden energy than my accidental insinuation. I felt a little stupid for yelling his name, but decided not to dwell on it. Thanks, your stuff is nice and you're good at shading. He stretched his arms while thanking me. We talked for a few more minutes, taking jabs at each other throughout. Turns out he was better at being an asshole than his artsy, charismatic appearance made me think. The thing setting our insults apart being that you could tell he was a loving person underneath. It was just the nicest conversation I had with anyone in a while. Though he could tell I was tired, so he quieted down, letting me sleep, waking me when we got to school. We went our separate ways until the last 2 periods we shared. All that time, I spent my remaining energy plotting how I was going to handle the video, what I'd kill, record with, and how to dispose of the evidence. It was a lot to consider, but through 3 classes, I devised a plan. I had a nice conversation with the guy, and then I went back to plotting how I was going to kill an animal for a video.
Yeah, literally,
Me
like
core, literally so
she
me,
is so
guys. She's so me.
she's so you. She's so you coded.
She's so me, guys. She's so me.
I
Anyway,
mean, I think she's just very. I know this is like a meme people are tired of, but she's just a girl. She talks with a nice guy that she considers murder. You know,
I'm just a girl.
the average high
I'm
school
just a
experience,
girl.
truly. At least the average high
Literally.
school experience in LA. Anyway,
Very demure, very mindful.
she is not demure and she is not mindful. She is the opposite of that.
I know it. She would punch me in the face for saying that.
100%. I have
She
this whole
would
joke.
punch
I think I'm
me
gonna
in the
bring it up in a
face.
later chapter. That Utsiri hates the clean girl aesthetic with a fiery passion. She's like, why do I
Oh,
have
that
to
is
be
so real.
clean? Why do I need to have my hair gelled? I want to smell like shit and have terrible hair. And then Abdul is just like, oh my god, calm down.
We love her for that. We love her for that,
Yeah.
guys.
She goes on like a straight up rant about like alternative fashion on TikTok and how it waters everything down
uh,
and how she hates how everyone is inventing new aesthetics when it's just the same thing but with like one new element added. And then he's just like, I like putting flowers on my t-shirt.
we love you, Abdul. We also love
Yeah.
you. Don't worry. We love you, Abdul. We love you. We love you. It's CDH. I said
Yeah.
her name right. Hell yeah.
Let's go, boys. We're getting to it.
Okay. Let's get back to reading before we go on another tangent about My Little Pony toothpaste.
And then global politics. Yeah. Okay.
And then
Gotta
global
promote the
politics.
pipeline.
Yeah. Gotta remember the global politics. I'd find a stray around my apartment complex and take it out in my room. Recorded on a portable camera since I broke the ones on my phone. No, I will not be answering how that happened. Then, once I had my footage, I put the body in a trash bag, throw it in the complex's garbage, and clean the blood off of my floor. It didn't seem like Rick would come by, so he wasn't a factor I thought I'd have to consider. The plan was almost too easy. but I decided to believe in Occam's razor. I got so lost in thought that by the time I reached art, which was my second to last period, I didn't process that we were moving seats. She called your name, Abdul reminded me. Our teacher placed us next to each other at our four-person table. The two girls sitting with us were already friends, so I didn't bother to say anything. But I was interested in talking to him more. So, what do you think of this assignment? Step into the wrong place. So, what do you think of this assignment? He shrugged, taking out his sketchbook. I'm not that good at drawing people, but the idea of combining two people's faces into a portrait seems interesting. Any ideas on on who you'll pick? Probably the members of the band, the music duo Brain Tumor. They're my favorite artists, and they both look weird as hell. Wow, way to talk about your favorites. If that's what you say about them, I can't imagine what you have to say about me. He joked, pulling up reference pictures. First, it's not an insult. Second, I don't have anything to say about you. Brain and Tumor have features and styles that make them stand out. Sure, they're ugly, but it adds to their visual charm. Hot people are boring. There's nothing to pick at, I explained, unzipping my bag. Oh, so you're saying you think I'm hot? This comment wasn't serious, but it kind of got to me. Shit, that's not what I meant. I was trying to say you're boring. All hot people are boring, but not at all boring people are hot, okay? I explained, flipping to a clean page. All right, but if I'm so bland, then why do you talk to me? I hesitated, contemplating how much of a dick I was going to be.
Yeah, that's. I love how
I love
direct
this
that line
writing.
is. Like,
I love this writing. It's so accurate to like conversations that I feel like I'm sitting in art class listening to somebody have this conversation.
good,
This is
good.
something like I'd hear somebody say like over my shoulder. I'd just be like, "God damn it! Can I just do an art assignment without anybody being an asshole today?"
Yeah.
And then I go home and I talk about it to my mom. And my mom's just like, "Okay, you want your chicken stir fry? Yeah." But yeah, I really enjoy how this is written. It's very realistic.
Good. I wanted it to feel
Okay,
real.
it definitely is. Also, just like you can tell the chemistry between the two of them, and I love them. I love them so much.
Yeah, I wanted them to like.
Uh,
Because this is the thing. I wanted the audience to understand why she wants to be around him, and I wanted him to feel realistic
hmm
for like a nice teenage boy, not like there's a lot of these stories, especially on Wattpad. Yeah, I'm calling you guys out. You know, like I said, the website I'm on is always a target. Like, I'm sorry. um,
no, that's so real. I wish I could do that.
but basically, a lot of these stories that take place in high school, the guy is either pure evil, but it's okay because he's attractive, or he's
Literally.
like an angel, and it's like, no, like this guy, like Abdul is from Narki, and he jokes with her and stuff, but he's not like mean because it's her job to be mean because like I think it hit me when I was when my friend showed me this pic crew where it's like, oh, you label what tropes your characters are part of, you know. So it could be
hmm
like, oh, best friend plus, it could be like chaotic bestie plus cinnamon roll or whatever. And then I realized that Abdul didn't fit any of those tropes. Cause like, and that's when I realized that I'm like, oh, because he's just normal. Like he's not a cinnamon roll. He's not evil. He's just fucking normal. Like he's not even a nothing burger guy. He's just normal. And that sounds like, oh wow, look at
Yeah.
me. I could write normal people. But that's a skill. I don't know. Because like I
Yeah,
feel
no,
like
that's such a good skill to have, like just to be able to write somebody who like doesn't fit into the little boxes that we always put characters into. Just to write a normal character, that's like a very good skill.
thank you. Because I tried my best to just make him seem like a normal, nice guy, like somebody you'd want to be friends with, but who isn't like bleeding
Yeah.
mental illness. No offense to all my other characters. Um, anyway,
No, I'd be
and to
friends with
myself.
Abdul. I'd be terrified of Usita if like she went to my school.
Yeah, I mean, she purposely tries to scare people away from her. He just sees through it, and then that's why he's willing to talk to her. He's just like
Real.
good at reading people.
Yeah. Love him for that. We love a true king.
Yeah.
All right. Because it means you probably need some spice in your life, which I can provide. He began sketching a head on his paper. I like spices, but I feel like you're the kind of person to dump a cabinet's worth onto me.
Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong. He's really
That
not
is so
wrong.
true. That
Yeah.
is so true. Also, I don't know why, but immediately I envision. So my mom has this like very pretty like little spice cabinet that we've had since like she's had before I was even born,
Uh-huh.
and it's like the type of cabinet that like just has a little latch on it, and you can like carry it, and it has
Yeah.
all the spices in it. And immediately my first thought was like my mom's spice cabinet and a titty like taking the latch off of it and then dumping it all into the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my first thought.
It's like those videos of like toddlers knocking over like a jar. Like Utsidi was definitely one of those kids who got there. Like I'm just thinking of that kid, that picture of it's like that, like like that little girl, and she has her head stuck in a jar. And it's like, how did that even happen? Like that's Utsidi. That's the kind of kid she was. Like at her group home, she definitely tried to eat bugs off the floor and stuff like that.
Utsidi's peanut butter baby.
Yeah, literally, she was a peanut butter baby.
I love her.
Yeah,
She's so silly.
she is so silly and also mentally ill. We love
It's
her.
like she's mentally ill, but we love her.
Yeah.
I flicked my pen over to the side of the desk, putting on a mocking grin. Oh, you scared I'm gonna get you into trouble? He picked up the pencil and started using pencil. Why did I sound Italian?
Pencil.
Pencil. He picked up the pencil and started using it, putting his on my side. No, because I'm good at setting boundaries. I'm more concerned that you'll get annoyed with how unafraid of you I am. I stared at him for a moment. I hadn't expected to hear that. Jeez, man, you didn't have to read me like that.
Yeah.
I love how he can say like how he can really like read her, and it can feel so real. Like this is something that really annoys me about some characters is that when people write other characters reading them, like it feels like they know too much information all at once. Like you don't need to info dump about shit that you shouldn't know. Like otherwise people are gonna think you're a stalker. Like no, he can easily like attribute this information to like things that she like mannerisms that she does or just things that she does because it's already been brought up that he likes to see things from different perspectives. So
Yeah.
in his mind, he's probably thinking about her perspective.
Yeah. And also like
And that's why I love reading your characters.
Thank you, but also like she's not the hardest person to read. She's pretty loudly unwell.
Yeah. That's true. She did literally say, "You should be afraid of me because I do weird shit in the back of the bus." I mean,
Yeah.
not in that kind of way, but like in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Like if that's not
I'm
a
gonna
red
be
flag, I don't know
friends.
what is.
I'm gonna be friends with you now. We're having soft tacos later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive to Oldham City in that we're having soft tacos later. If I have the emotional energy, wee!
Yippee.
Yippee! Okay, back to reading. So sorry, everybody, for the random ramblings of Panini. And now, back to Cheap Thoughts with Highline. Women suck.
Jesus.
Okay, I'll stop. He shrugged, observing the red paint from past projects that lay on my pen. It's not hard to figure out. Just this morning, you were trying to push me away on the bus. Lucky or unlucky for you, I want you to have a friend, and you seem like a fun person. Wait, are you saying I had no friends? I squinted at him. Well, do you? I didn't answer. If your response is silence, I suggested you got my offer. I was stunned, to be honest. No one had offered to be my friend since sixth grade, and that didn't last long. Of course, I accepted it, but for the rest of the period, there was an awkwardness in my mind. As pathetic as it sounds, I wasn't used to others genuinely enjoying my company like he did, which was partly why by design, because I get joy out of scaring people away, but still, I forgot how it felt to have conversations about normal things like art. He had such a nice smile too. Usually, when I see a grin, I want to slap it off, but I liked his. His voice was also nice. It's hard to describe what in particular, but it was easy on the ears. Okay, I'm getting starting to get off topic. I'll skip to the important part.
Yeah, she's realizing she's just starting to like because you could see the little air bubble get like thrown away.
Yeah, I just love how your writing like it very well describes the character, and and it always feels like it's from a different writing style, even with her. It's so interesting to me.
Thank you. I try to make all my writings distinct between characters. Like I don't want like even with more general characters, like the way that like the guy from A Letter to My Coat writes is not the same as like I despise you, darling, even though they both kind of use flowery language to describe something terrible. Like they follow similar
Hmm.
motifs, but I still try to make them distinct.
Yeah, that's one of the many things that I really like enjoy about your writing is just how distinct you make everything, and how
Thank you.
you try more to show and not just tell. That's something like I
Thank
really
you.
enjoy about your writing. It's one of the things that I wanted to present in this video because your writing deserves to be shown. God damn it, shakes you by the shoulders.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I had a bad joke I was gonna say.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. The whole class wants to hear.
I'm scared. I'm gonna get canceled.
We're past that point. You're gonna get canceled for the
Okay.
way you abuse that My Little Pony toothpaste. Just get on with it.
That's true. That's true. I'm gonna get canceled for that. Well, I'll stop blowing you off now. Let's get back to reading. That was terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
We started off the video with the he's stuck in my basement joke. So I don't think I should
No,
be
because you
scared.
know what? Not gonna lie, I was like, man, I hope they don't think that I'm just like doing something so you give me good cred. Like we're actually friends, guys.
We're
I'm
actually
not on my hands and
friends.
knees in order to get this done. Okay.
Nah, I love him. I love him so much. He's so awesome.
Yay! All right.
Seriously. Okay, I'll get back to praising you in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh
Don't
damn
let
it!
you go
I
too long.
accidentally scrolled up. No. Okay, there
It's
we go.
okay.
Toward the end of class, he started talking about how he was interested in filmmaking and got a portable video camera as a gift at last year's Eid. He didn't have it on him, but he showed me a picture. That's funny. I bought the same one a month ago, I pointed out. Yeah, it's a popular model. I'm still getting the hang of it, though, because I'm so used to having my phone. Well, maybe I could bring you over to my place, or vice versa after school, and I could help you out, I suggested. He smiled, putting his phone back in his pocket. I thought you said you've only had it for a month. You know, I can always look up tutorials from trained professionals. He reminded me with a notable smugness that I'd used with him before. Well, those guys are stuffy. I'm a fast learner. He redirected his attention back to his page, picking his pencil up. All right, I suggest we go somewhere public instead. You're not exactly the kind of person I want to bring home to my parents right away. Plus, they always need to meet my friends and their guardians before I hang out at their home. I gave an exaggerated sigh, stretching my back.
Yeah.
Aw, man, looks like we can't get high in my murder pit during our first hangout.
Average art kid conversation.
Average art kid conversation. I should know. Points at him
I should know
dramatically.
too. I should know as well.
Points at each other dramatically.
Mm-hmm. We are the art kids having that conversation.
we're just we're just calling ourselves out in this video.
Like I said, two things that will never be off limits to joke about: myself and my platform.
Real. He didn't respond for a solid few seconds. Wait, you do know I'm joking, right? He shrugged, the smile in his eyes disappearing again. I mean, one of those things is a little less believable than the other. He snickered, and I laughed with him. We set up a time and date, which is where I screwed myself. He ended up being busy with projects from his other classes and family, which just left us with Friday. The same day I had to submit the video. Now, did I tell him I wouldn't be able to make it? No, of course not. Because I decided to be stupid and even more overconfident. I said I'd 100% be able to hang out with him after school. Like I didn't have a mutilator who was going to drop by my place at an unknown time. The rest of the day went over fine, but that bad timing led me to feel like a dick later. When I got home, I was able to write out my plan, even sketching a few specifics of what I'd do.
What?
I thought I heard something.
Oh.
I thought I heard you say something. My bad.
That's good.
It was more exciting than when I'd been brainstorming, but this is when the gravity of the situation began to set in. When I said I'd fantasized about my killings, I meant it. I mean, my teddy with 25 stab wounds would say enough. Regardless, this would be the first time real blood was on my hands. It made me feel powerful, but a little afraid. I've heard stories of people thinking that it would be an awesome experience and then feeling like shit. I doubted I'd be one of those people, but still. Plus, I didn't exactly trust the guy who gave me this job. There was a good chance that this whole situation was rigged and they'd kill me no matter how good the video was. Or worse, turn me into the feds and expose my collection. Honestly, if that happened, I'd probably eat a shot to avoid going to jail. Wait, can I say this on this platform? Okay, to the mods, that was a joke. I want to live a long life. I'm doing a terrible job of staying on track. The point is, there was a lot of up in the air, despite it being a matter of life or death. I knew I'd go through
Man,
with
I love
it,
how I
but
wrote her saying, "Man, I'm getting off track." Meanwhile, we're also getting off track.
he would be yelling at us in the video.
Yeah.
Are you in the comment sections of CDE? Are you yelling at us internally?
She's watching silently with judgment.
That is so hard.
Yeah.
I knew I'd go through with it, but it was still a lot less straightforward than it initially seemed. I racked my brain to remember where most of the cats stayed and tried to come up with a good way to lure one out without raising suspicion. This also proved harder than thought because I didn't think to account for the cat man, an old guy who lived alone and fed all the cats in our dingy complex, while also housing a few. Knowing how excessive he was, you probably noticed.
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but that is actually based on, to detail no giveaway, the teddy bear with the stab wounds is based on a real stuffed animal that my friend owns that has stab wounds in it. Yeah. He was going through some shit.
Yeah.
And the cat man was based on a real old guy who fed all the cats in our apartment complex when I lived in LA. So those two details are from real life.
Oh, that's really cool. I love how you added those two things.
Yeah, I think it's pretty common to add elements of the real world into your characters. So I think all our experiences reflect in that. Art imitates life, life imitates art, all that.
I think the thing of it is though is that like you can put that in and like I wouldn't like unless you would point it out like you did right now. Like I wouldn't have noticed because it would feel like pretty natural in the flow of the story. Which as opposed to a lot of media I've seen, it always kind of feels like whenever that stuff happens, it can either like flow in really well with the story or it just kind of feels out of place.
Yeah, I didn't want any reference to my real life or like specific references later. Like I write references in a way where if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Like stuff like that, like are specific things specific to my life or like really for myself, and just because I like integrating my experiences into my work sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah, back to the story. It makes more sense that he'd think one of them was run over rather than slaughtered. It was getting late again, so I rested my head for a moment. A bad move because I ended up falling asleep at my desk. Not even changing out of the clothes I'd worn before. I woke up late and barely caught the bus the next morning. I went to my usual spot, but Abdul had already taken it. He patted the area next to me, which he'd covered in a towel. A smart move, knowing how nasty it was. People gave me a few dirty looks as normal, which I smiled at. I stretched, my mind slightly less out of it than the previous morning. You do realize that? Yeah, I know, I'm wearing the same clothes. Abdul looked me up and down, his eyes remaining soft, but with a mix of concern and judgment. He set his backpack down and took off his sweater, handing it to me. Dude, what are you? Look, I don't know what led you to not be able to change, but I think you should at least have a fresh top. I was surprised he was offering me something to wear, but I took it. Thanks. I'll change into it later. He nodded as I put it in my backpack. You know, you didn't have to do that, I reminded him. Well, there's a lot of stuff I don't have to do, but I do it because I want to, and I wanted to help you out. He smiled. His face was still warmer than an Arizona sun. Arizona.
Arizona.
Arizona. Chat, can you tell that I'm illiterate?
Clearly.
He smiled, his face still warmer than an Arizona summer. I got a strange feeling in my chest at that moment. I still can't tell if it was good or bad. Well, thanks. I'll give it back to you tomorrow. We talked a little more, and he mentioned something that caught my attention. Have you heard about all the animals that have been turning up dead? My eyes widened with surprise. No, I haven't. When did you hear about that? He pulled on his long sleeve shirt. My sister said her friend who works at a shelter noticed a bunch of animals were getting adopted by people around the same time, and since then, gore videos with them have been showing up. She found out through her coworker who was emailed it by some random creep. I covered my mouth and looked away to hide the smile growing on my face. He'd just given me the perfect cover-up without knowing. Now if I killed an animal, people had an entire violent ring to connect it to instead of me. I stayed quiet for a minute because I could tell he'd likely see through any phony sad sounds I made. Oh, wow, that's awful. Do you think they'll ever find out the people behind it? He sighed, running his hand through his wavy hair. I hope so. For now, all we can do is pray that no more animals get hurt.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, oh, oh,
He does
whoa.
not know.
Oh, my poor baby Abdul.
Bro does
This
not
is the
know.
one time. This is the one time that I will be like a little bit pissy with the TD heat, mostly because animal murder. Eh. But like
Yeah.
also just like why? He's like expressing to you how sad he is about this, and all you can think about is how you're gonna pin this on an animal murder ring.
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
I
this
mean,
is the thing about her. Like I said, she might be a likable character sometimes to some people. Apparently not to
yeah,
Redditors. But yeah, she's not a good person. And I mean,
yeah,
technically she was backed into a corner, but she also low-key got herself in that corner in the first place. So, you know.
yeah.
Then again,
Again, this is one
yeah.
of those situations. This is one of the situations where like I'm allowed to be a little bit mad at Utsiri, but
Yeah,
also
no,
at the same
you're
time,
always
like,
about. For the record, you are always allowed to be mad at her. Like she might have, yeah, she fucked up here. Like she shouldn't have gotten this deep into it.
yeah.
And it does not get better from here. Sorry, gang.
No. Animal death. Trigger warning, y'all. Probably should have put that up before the video. But anyway,
Yeah,
we're here. We're here. We're already at the corner. We can't go back.
yeah. Right now it's just mentions. There is no scene of it happening
Yeah.
though, because I'm not Aaron Bugard. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Good, good, good. Good, 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 good. Alright, moving on. I accidentally scrolled up too far again. Ooh, doop a doop. I couldn't contain my grin as he said that so sincerely, like animals and people didn't die constantly, and that taking down one group would somehow stop the issue. Is there some joke I don't get? He furrowed his brows. No. Sorry. I smile and nervous. His gaze softened again, and he didn't press any further. Bringing up the animal killings ended up being the exact push I needed to get my hands dirty. It spent the entire day before planning it, so it was time to put that plan into action. I saw some cat treats that the cat man had laid out and spread them around my apartment, which was on the bottom floor. Waiting for one of them to take the bait outside my window was pretty boring, but one of them came after a few minutes. A scraggly brown and black cat with a tuft of fur missing on one side of its head. It's messed up, but I felt like a little less of an asshole for taking him in since he looked like he was already struggling. I scooped him up, and he didn't attempt to fight back. Hey there, buddy, I waved, feeding him some more food. His eyes had a lot of crust on them. It was kind of gross, but I didn't have the right to say it with how often I washed my jeans. After a minute or two, he let me pet him. I knew making any kind of attachment was bad, but I thought it was the right thing to do, so he'd fall into a sense of security. I was just about to take him into my room when the door opened. Hey, I'm back with groceries! My shithead cousin and I have to. He's an asshole, and I hate him. This was actually the voice I was doing in my head while I was reading him last night.
Yay!
My shithead cousin announced with 2 plastic bags in his hands. He looked down to see me with the cat, his eyebrows raising. Oh, come on, you know we can't afford a pet. He groaned, placing the bags on a table and unloading them. I know, but he doesn't look like he's got a lot of life in him. I at least want to help him feel better before he kicks the bucket. Brick rolled his eyes, putting the cereal box on top of the fridge. Jeez, did you even think about what diseases he might have? His eyes look puffy. What if he has something that can get you sick? He had valid concerns, which is surprising since he's usually stupid. But I was still annoyed with him. I'm sure he's fine. I'll try to wash him. Just let me hold on to him for a little. He folded his arms, looking down at us. Have you even named him? I froze for a second, before using the first thing that came to mind, which ended up being pretty awful knowing my plans. Cash cow! I blurted, awkwardly patting his head.
Yeah.
I can see it. Oh, I can see it. I need this to be I needed this to be a TV series. I need a TV series right now.
Yeah. Cash cow.
I'd be the director. Silly me. Anyways, honestly, it was better than what I was expecting. I was sure you'd pick Hans Spell McGee or something else corny. He meant to make fun of me, but honestly, I would have named him that if I had more time. Anyway, I got those dumb chips you like. He then pulled out a bag of the wrong chips. Dude, those are the wrong ones. This is the 3rd time you've mixed up the flavors. He threw them at me, scaring the cat slightly. Well, I pay for it, so you shouldn't be so picky. Anyway, while I was in line, I picked up something you might be into. He then tossed me a trashy teen magazine, one of my least favorite sorry excuses for an influencer on the cover. This is a joke, right? I couldn't believe my own adopted brother gave such little shit in my interests. I don't know, you decided to start being a girl for real this time, so I thought the makeup tips on page 10 would help you out. I scrunched my face at this comment. Dude, I've been this way for years. Just because I started wearing more makeup and dresses doesn't mean I'm more of a girl than when I didn't. I know you won't get the two-spirit thing, but come on. He shrugged, seeming done with me, even though he'd just shown up. Yeah, well, hey, I'm trying. Anyway, just so you know, a friend of mine is coming here Friday. My heart stopped. Wait, why here? You live elsewhere. Why can't you assholes go there or their place? He slammed his fist on the desk. He slammed his fist on the table. I wish. We all wish. Yeah. Story's over. He dies. Happy ending. He slammed his fist on the table. Will you shut the fuck up? He screamed with a phrase I'd grown numb to. I don't know. To be honest, something about wanting to. I don't know. To be honest, something about wanting to move into this complex and this being a way to scout it out. I'm just letting you know so you don't act like a complete freak. Joke's on you. I'll piss in whatever shitty beer you bring just because you said that. I yelled back, raising my voice higher than his. He face palmed before putting the plastic bags in the drawer under the sink. Whatever, you and your ketamine addict-looking cat have fun, told me while seating himself on the couch. I picked up the cat and walked into the bedroom to clean it. I closed the door and placed him in the dry tub. Using a small disposable mouthwash cup, I got little bit of water. I hadn't had a pet before, so I wasn't sure how to approach the task. I dipped my fingers in the water and carefully pet it while pouring a small bit down his back. Any other cat would fight back, but he just made pissed off noises without doing anything. I scratched my old shampoo bottle and kneaded it into his thin fur. Skin was bumpy and dry beneath the hair, so scrubbing it was uncomfortable. I made sure to avoid getting soap in its eyes, but I did pull away some of the crust in its lid. His pupils were so clouded I was surprised that he could see it all, making me feel even more sure that he would be on his way out with or without me. After drying him, I set him on a beat-up shirt I wore when modifying clothes. He sunk his claws into it a few times, playing with the loose strings. I ignored him for the rest of the night, hopping into the shower and changing for bed. His meows woke me up a few times, but I tuned it out after a while, reminding myself that he wouldn't be my cat for long. The next day was Thursday, and there wasn't a second that passed by when the weight of the murder I'd have to commit didn't weigh on me. I seriously shot myself in the foot by taking care of that scruffy pubic hair pile. I was supposed to be hyped about killing it after all. I dreamed it seemed way worse than what I was doing to it, yet once I got home and started setting it up, I felt grosser with each step. I decided to record it in my bathroom instead of my bedroom so it would be harder to make it connect with me. I set down a few fabric scraps and a worn-out beach towel, placing it inside a tub for easier cleanup later. Okay, I guess it's time, I mumbled to myself. I brought the cat in and placed it down, setting up my camera once it was comfortable. I also wore my most generic clothes in addition to a mask, putting my hair in a button for sanitation. When I saw the flicker of red showing that the camera was on, I felt like I was dreaming. I smiled, excited that I'd get to live out my violent desires. Yet, when I looked down at its pathetic frame and confused expression, those urges left me. I rationalized what I was doing, reminding myself how many animals die all the time and that I'd been forced to do this. But it didn't help much in the end. I won't get into it, but under the pressure of impressing the group, cash cow didn't go out as fast as I would have liked for a first task. Getting rid of the evidence was especially rough. Textures were pretty nasty, to put it mildly. It was surreal, watching the blood go down the tub drain and gradually drip off my hands as I rinsed them. I couldn't conjure a single thought the entire time I cleaned it up. Whether I was wringing out the clothes or putting the remains in plastic bags, it didn't matter. All I could focus on was the task at hand, with hints of disgust along the way. I ended up finishing at 3 a.m. My hands were wrinkled, and I shook once I settled. I won't deny that murdering... Okay! I won't deny that during the murder I didn't hate it. Slashing into something was fun, and it made me feel strong. Still, I wasn't nearly as fulfilling as I expected it to be. Part of it was guilt, but it was mostly disappointment. I'd built up for years, and it wasn't earth-shatteringly good or bad. Overall, I expected to feel more, but just left me hollow with an uncomfortable itch. There's no way I'd ever be able to see the tub the same again. Hell, I don't think I'll ever use it again. Luckily, I almost always shower anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. I watched a few horror video games, trashed everything, changed, and went to bed. Okay, I unfortunately think we're going to have to cut that off because my mom's calling me for supper.
Okay.
But any last thoughts before we have to head off?
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I feel very grateful. Hopefully we can pick this
Of
up
course.
and read the rest of it sometime. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hopefully. Of course. Happy to help in any way that I can. Love you.
Thank you. All right, it's been
Night,
great.
everybody.
It's been great.
Yeah, I'm coming. All right, night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed.
All right, bye.
And thank you, Jason, for coming.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.